Big up to everyone. Lovely family, lovely friends out there, wherever you're watching Awini Unity platform from. Thank you so much, and we do really appreciate your time for always staying here with us at Awini Unity platform. This video, we are about to watch the video of the former Ghana Black Queens head coach, who is now a coach of Zambia women team. She spoke about a lot of things yesterday in interview. She spoke about her passion about football. She spoke about the time she started football, her football career, and her coaching career. She's a very, very good coach. She spoke about a lot of interesting things. She went on to speak about African football and how she's ready, particular Zambian football, particular the women football, how she's ready to improve a lot of things, and she's very, very happy to become Zambian women national team head coach. A lot of things. So we're not going to take much of your time. Let's get drive in to watch the video and also listen to the most positive things that she spoke about, and a lot of so many things. So let's get in.
Ending up as a coach.
Yeah, basically I was a kid like so many, and was playing with my brothers on the street. I had then a fantastic career myself, played for the Swiss national team, abroad in Netherlands as professional, and then I had the chance after my career to start coaching. So I made all the licenses up to the pro license. I was working 5 years for the Swiss FA, putting a talent development program, teaching the under-19 national team. Yeah, so then I went to the Bundesliga when COVID was, because the league was still running. It was a more high-performance environment. And after that, I got the call from Ghana, where I nearly spent 3 years now with the Black Queens.
What inspired you to take up this challenge and come to Zambia, seeing that you're also very successful in Ghana where you were?
Yeah, we qualified also for the WAFCON with Ghana. So for me, Zambia was always a bit in my perspective, because there's so many interesting players. Barbara Banda, Kundananchi, Grace Chanda, there are plenty of it. I see also very talented youth players coming. They appear already on the big tournaments, but I think now it's also to make a bit the next step in these tournaments.
Oh, that's obviously when it comes to the Copper Queens, but on a personal level, this move obviously, maybe the Ghanaian fans, sorry for them, they might be feeling hard done, because they were hoping that you'd stay a bit longer with the works that you had done, and some feel perhaps that you have abandoned them midway.
Yeah, I mean, basically it's for me, I want to work in an environment with perspectives, where we have a lot of potential to reach, which I see. But I also want to enter in a culture where I feel very warm welcome. I need to identify also myself, very much so. We played already in February here with Ghana, and I felt very welcome. I felt, like I can deliver here something, but I can also learn from the culture. For me, it's very important that it's like a match, that I can benefit, but I can also give a lot. So I was very attracted by Zambia.
All right, talking about being attracted to Zambia, and obviously one thing that I like is, having followed your work and read so much about you, is that you're a true profession. And one of the things you mentioned is that when you were leaving at some point, you said you were not willing to compromise on crucial components. What exactly? And that also triggers me to ask the next question. You can load it together, this one. What's your philosophy, Coach Nora?
Yeah, basically it's important that we can play a lot of games, that we can reach some development steps. Everybody wants to be successful, win a tournament, but we need to ask us how can we do it? Which steps do we need to take? So for me, it's like creating a powerhouse here in Zambia, and this starts normally in my philosophy that first I need to get involved to the humans. We need to speak about values, about our identity. We need to put commitment. That's like the base of our house, and on this we can start to put the football principles. We can, what are our strengths which we want to do better, and what do we need to level up to be also competitive on the very highest level. So that's how I step by step build the powerhouse when I start.
All right, shifting gears to the Zambia team, there's been a lot of success, and I'm happy that you're able to mention and single out players like Barbara, Kundananji, Grace Chand, and others. What are your thoughts on the Zambian team that you're taking over now as the head coach, and how do you plan to ensure that the team's success becomes more of a collective effort?
Yeah, basically, as you mentioned, there are outstanding individual players with outstanding skills. I think the team proved on the big tournaments, big strengths are the transition into the offense with very much power on the pitch. It's one of the best phases on the world. I see the transition in Zambia. But I also think it's important, because when you score like 5 goals at the Olympics, you also and you get 6, it's difficult to go over a tournament. So then it's also from these transitions getting in a good possession. That's always the heart of football. When your possession on the ball, the distances are not right, then it affects all the other phases. So in the beginning we need to work a lot on the ball to make a core shape, we call it, and from there we can then also go in transitions to the defense. What happens when we lose the ball? But it's good to transition when our distances in the offense are well. So every phase of the game is affecting each other. In the core, it's the offense. Then we work us through, and in the end, of course, we need to also stabilize a defense and structure the defense. You can win games when you score a lot of goals, but you can only win tournaments when you have a stable defense.
I'm happy you're talking about the defense, because I think that's been Zambia's undoing, scoring a lot of goals, but at the same time, shipping in a lot of goals at the back. And you are a former defender yourself. What qualities do you hope to bring to the Zambian defense, stemming from the fact that, yes, now you're a coach, but also the background that you are a former footballer and a defender?
Yeah, defense has a lot to do with discipline. It has a lot to do with willingness to run. It's very easy sometimes to make the effort in the offense, but I always say the true face of a team you see in the shape of the defense. Are you committed to run also those runs which are maybe a bit less spectacular, but we need to do it as a unit? And it needs to be very, very organized. In the offense, you have a lot of creativity, which you can, deliver. But in the defense, it's a lot of discipline, structure, and commitment to the team.
The last time you were in Zambia, you were with the Ghana team, and and I want us to stay on this tactics issue. In the post-match briefing, you said, and I quote, "Zambia have very good individual players, but they need to adjust their tactical screws." What exactly were you trying to put across here by this statement, and how do you hope to convert and correct these tactical screws you called?
Well, I was seeing just potential, This was basically my saying, and I guess really that we need to start first in the offense phase and put the distances closer together, Also, when you have the ball, there needs to be a shape, and the connection of the players. When we get too much distance, it's very difficult when you lose the ball to regain it. So it affects everything together. And then I also think in the defense, it's to bring the block much more together. When you want to press, then the whole team needs to go and press. When you want to defend low, it's to bring the units and the lines closer together.
It's the second team that you're coaching on the African continent. What would you say are some of the experiences that you've gained being on the African continent, in Ghana to be more precise, that you feel you also be able to bring to the Zambian game?
Yeah, basically I see a lot of talents all over Africa. They are outstanding, fantastic players. I guess it's on us, on the leaders also, to put the environment right for them. That means that our youth national teams have enough games where they can get exposure, when they can play already World Cups, tournaments down there. It's much easier to make the switch to the senior team. Environment for the clubs that our talents have here in the good league, like 3-4 years, and maybe can make then also a jump in the big leagues. But it's a lot the surrounding that we need to level up for them, because I have the feeling the players are ready for it.
What's your tactical formation, your preferred tactical formation? I ask this because Zambia's got its own style of play. Traditionally, we call it the Zambian philosophy, without necessarily pointing to it specifically. You're obviously coming in with your own style, and how do you hope to have this one, be adapted by the players here?
Not all the secrets already tell you now. No, look, for me it is, me as coach, I can play any formation. I know in my system against which formation I can play what formation, but it's not about the formation. It's, you need to look at the players. You need to look what strengths do we have, what skills do our players have, and then you need to bring the best players together on the pitch. And then you need to frame a system for them which is fitting on the top players. I think this is my approach where I want to go.
All right, talking about approach, who are you coming with in terms of the staff, and are you going to work with Zambian coaches as well?
Yeah, of course. I think it needs to be a good mixture. I bring my assistant Philip with me. He was already in Ghana, and it's a person of trust for me also. We're gonna attach and already are in discussion for Zambian assistants. For me, it needs to be a good balance, between also culture. I don't know the Zambian culture so well up to now. I also need to be taught by my staff in those skills. But we also need to up-level the whole environment, and we have a good analysis part, we have a good medical department. So for me, it's very important. I see me more as the manager of my staff, but they need to deliver in their areas a lot of specific work. So we are working to bring in the right people.
When you are coming in Zambia as the first, foreign coach for the women's national team, and you also had a very short stint in Israel, and also mixing with other coaches around the African continent that have come up against the Copper Queens. What are they telling you about this job that you've inherited? One thing for sure I can tell you is that Zambians always want to win. Yeah.
Everybody wants to win, all over the world.
Yeah.
I know that the expectations are very high.
Are you equal to the task and the pressure?
Yeah, I always say pressure. It's you need to earn the pressure, and it's you take it for breakfast. That's how you need to deal on this level. I'm very aware of the expectation. After reaching the bronze medal at the WAFCON, there is the will to win a tournament. I have no stress or doubts to be competitive and to deliver towards this success. Yeah.
Zambia has got skilled players, and immediately in your first reaction to my question was Barbara, Grace Chanda, Kunda Nanji, with such big names in the squad. How do you plan to foster a spirit of unity and make sure that the team functions as a well-oiled unit on the pitch? Because sometimes when we've got a team that has got big names, it sometimes becomes a bit of a challenge. We've seen it, many a times where there'll be certain camps and the like. For you, how do you hope to bring unity in this team? Who is Nora? Is she one who, like a headmaster at school or a headmistress who walk with a whip? What relationship do you normally create between you and your team or team players?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm happy to have those top stars in my team. It's a privilege to work with such good players. I guess it's a good wedding with me and the team, because I'm very hungry for success, and my experience is top players, they always want to develop and learn every day more than everybody else. So I think we can deliver each other. We can learn from each other, we can deliver each other, we can be successful together. So I have no doubts about this. For me, it's basically I'm a human being which likes to have close relations to my players, because I believe when I treat the humans good, then the player is also taking care of the goals. You understand a bit? So it's about to get to know each other, having a lot of respect together. And then we create for the team also a frame of values, what is our identity, what are our values, and then we put commitments to it. And to this, everybody needs to stick. There is never a player who is bigger than the team in the end, But I like to do all those things together with my players, So sometimes I'm a leader maybe who is more a manager, sometimes I'm maybe more the coach, so sometimes I can also be a friend and listen to you, because every human also needs to speak about, you know, his feelings or whatever. So for me, I think I have a good fingertip, to deal with humans, and in the end, I want to put the best platform that they can perform. So I see me also as a server to them. Yeah.
How much influence will you have when it comes to the junior national teams? Because yes, the senior team, women's team, is is really posting amazing results, but you've got the junior teams, for instance, that are also coming up, and with young players that are knocking on the door. Are you also going to be part of the junior teams as well when it comes to tournaments or certain competitions?
Yeah, so I have the role as technical advisor over all the youth national teams, and as I posted earlier, it's important that we qualify for the tournaments there, because it gives the player exposure for scouts, it gives them, but also the experience, how is a tournament running, you need to learn those things, so it's much easier to bring them up. And for me, I come out of a country, Switzerland has 8-9 million people living there, so we don't have a mass of talents, but what I learned in my life is always to take care of those we have and to develop them the best we can, So that's a bit my approach. And I'm happy that I have seen the results on the COSAFA and the 17, 20, and the senior. So I think it's also on me to give a little bit guidance. I like to go on the pitch also with the coaches, that we create a bit an identity, a philosophy. How do we want to play together? That also the players have a bit of structure when they race over the teams.
You're talking about the tournaments, and I think one of the big assignments coming through for the Copa Queens is the WAFCON. What do you make of the group where Zambia is, the host Morocco? It's not easy every time when you are placed, regardless of how strong or weak a team is, when you're placed in the same group with the host. There's also DRC there. What do you make of Zambia's group where, as regards the WAFCON?
Yeah, I mean, it will never be easy. Zambia had Morocco in the qualifiers to the Olympics, but finally they beat them over the all-in-all score. Sometimes you can also put it that Morocco has the pressure to perform at home. It's sometimes also not so easy. But I'm convinced that we pass this group. And then it's already quarter-final time. It's a bit the draw you take, but basically we do very good opponent analysis, because it always gives us a bit indicators how we need to screw our tactics. But in the end, we need to have the biggest focus on us. How is our performance? How is our mood? How is our energy level? And I always believe when we are on us and we do our job and our performance well, then we can take every opponent at this tournament.
All right. Also, still keeping it with the WAFCON, you've broken it down when it comes to the group where Zambia is. Aside from that, generally, what was your immediate reaction before coming to Zambia? Obviously, when the draws were made, although the interest was already on Zambia.
Yeah, basically I was on the draw, but still in charge of as head coach of Ghana, of course. So I was watching a bit more from this kind of perspective. But for me, I like to play always against the best, I like to have the best opponents, because it's challenging us the most and it's showing us the best mirror on where we are exactly. So I'm never afraid or, to play the best team. So I always put a smile and say, it's cool to perform on this level and to prove us with the best, and we want to be a little bit ahead of them in the end.
Getting back to, I probably must have asked this question, although maybe we didn't get it in depth into it. Zambia having been to the Olympics, back-to-back qualification, we've been to the WAFCON. For you, what would be the first target that you'd want to, achieve with this Copa Queens squad?
Yeah, of course, we want to bring the copper to gold one day, but the first milestone on our mission, it's the WAFCON. When you reach a bronze, of course, you want to enter now into a final there, and then it's all open, you know. Of course, we are heading for a title. Then we enter in autumn into the qualification for the 26th edition, which will be played in March 26. This is then also relevant for the World Cup qualification. Normally there on semi-final stage you are qualified for the World Cup. So to bring us back on the big tournaments, World Cup, Olympics, and there it's to take the next step. So that means to pass the group stage. And I think with this team also, when you ensure that you do those step taking. In the end, it's all open. Everybody goes to a tournament finally because you want to win it, you know. But always getting back, working on the performance, on the KPIs. This is how you can influence if you are in the end on the top or not.
Have you spoken to any of the Zambian players since your appointment? And maybe you can give us an insight of what the discussions. For instance, Barbara Banda, obviously
Too
captain.
much secrets. I had a chat, of course, with Barbara. We called each other already twice. She left now to the States, back to her club. But it was a very open chat. I felt very welcome from her. So we had a good exchange. We talked about some secrets, which are not for you now. No, but I feel she's a true leader. You know, she knows what is her role about, and it's very important for the players that they understand what role do you see in them, what do they need to fulfill. And she as captaincy has of course a special role on the pitch, but also beside the pitch. So we talked a bit about how do we want to frame,
we're having a lot of Zambian players now, you know, coming from the local league, you know, going on to play in Europe and, you know, other big clubs. With this new appointment, how much will you be involved, for instance, when it comes to scouting talent outside Zambia? Because we hear that one or two female Zambian players that may not have had an opportunity, you know, to play for the Copper Queens. Are you also going to spread your net wide to be able to capture those? Because at present, the majority of the players, and it's understandable, are coming from the domestic league.
Yeah, the scouting part, it's a high importance. One part is to scout domestic, you know, where I think everybody gets like a blank sheet, you know, and can also put herself in position. That's important. So I'm gonna go watch a lot of games, of course, here in Zambia. Probably we can also do a bit selection camp, that we test a bit a wider field of players, you know, that I get also the feeling on the pitch of them. And then the second part is also to scout abroad. I have like a radar, I call it, where all those players are on, so that we scout networks, platforms, you know. I get often a lot of messages too, and normally I screen every player who appears, and if I think it's interesting on the position the players play, and if the player is better than a domestic one, that's also a criteria, then normally I travel there and watch also her playing.
All right, I know you wouldn't want to disclose who your two, or is it three, or whoever you're going to work with from the Zambian perspective as your members of the technical staff, but what are your expectations from whoever will be working with you? In this case, I know you've mentioned Philippe, who you've worked with for a long time, but from the Zambian, you know, members that will be part of your technical staff, what are your expectations? What are you looking for? Also, even as you are thinking or yet to appoint whoever you're going to work with from the Zambian coaches.
Well, basically, I want to have a very hungry staff, you know, full of passion, and which are very committed to serve to the players. That's also that we can grow and develop together, you know, the will to develop. I believe everybody can learn, you know, and grow, and to have this openness, it's for me very decisive. I have a very holacracy view on my staff. That means I believe when it comes then more to the skills, let's say a video analyst is taking care of the whole analysis. Normally I have two of them. Then it's like a circle, you know, and they are responsible for their targets, for the. So I give a lot of freedom to them because I think they need to know clear their tasks. They need to and they need to grow also with their tasks. It needs a lot of confidence from my side, you know. And I see my role more that I overview and I just get the informations I need in the end served, you know. So we have a medical team, we have a team of assistants. Normally we also put the players a bit in circles, you know. We have maybe a captaincy circle with Barbara and the assistant captain, and this circle belongs to me. I need to be very close in interaction with the leaders of the team. But maybe we have a circle of younger players, and then an assistant has more the attachment to this circle. So we give very clear tasks, we have task books, roles, and then I let them work. And so I give a lot of confidence and freedom also to my staff, but I expect that they need to burn, you know, for the team and the players.
With your experience being on the African continent, Nora, what would you say, and that's your opinion obviously, are some of the challenges that you've encountered or probably seen that hinder, you know, girls or women to fully exploit their potential when it comes to them playing football on the African continent? I say this because you've also played football at the highest level apart from coaching now.
Yeah, when I look a bit development past, the ideal I would see for a player, I would say, you know, the whole street or school football I would not take away, because there they have this whole creativity, they learn technique, you know, they need to win the battles on the street one against one. So this is something which sometimes in the Western world or in Europe is taken a bit away, it's too structured. So there I would not go in, I would keep this creativity. Maybe then when it comes to an under 15 national team, that we have a good scouting, maybe over school tournaments, you know, that we have a very wide look when we attach the players to the first national team, and this would be ideally an under 15 national team, because then you can start to work to implement the philosophy. They get a bit used to what it is, national team. Because on 17 you already need to perform, you know, on a World Cup. So it would be good to have one player. Besides, normally they play in the club, and I always say usually you need to have 3 or 4 years in the Premier League, where you play a lot of minutes, you know, at this age. And when you get a role and important role on the pitch over 3 years, you can also do afterwards a jump abroad. That's also for me, of course, in the end it's a business, the player want to earn money, and usually they can earn also more money. And then it's about to make the right step, you know, in a good league where they still get playing time. Sometimes when they bench too much too early, they get stuck a bit in their career. So it's a whole talent pathway we need to create, and it's also a bit individual. Not every player is making the same turns, you know, some come a bit later in, so we need to be always very open in our system, to be not stuck on, you know, on 20 players which we guide through. The top players you see easy, but the middle part of the players, it's very, you know, there you need to be very open, to attach them again, or to screen again, to have a fluidity, I say.
For one to be part of the Copa Queens, what will you be looking for? Is it talent? Is it skill? Is it pace? What's that first thing that you always you look out for when you're scouting for whoever may not be part of the Copa Queens now, but may be part of the setup in the near to distant future? In
best case, everything together. But I think basically when I work with humans, is it player or stuff, I always try to see the best skill, the strength of a human, you know. And when I first watch a player, I want to know, why is this player excellent, for what, you know. And this needs to come regularly on the pitch. That's the most important thing. I'm not just watching the weaknesses first, you know. And this strength can be diverse. So either it's a tactical strength, that, you know, the game understanding, reading. Is it a technical skill, maybe very good on the ball? Is it a physical skill? Very, very speedful. If you are the most speedful, it's also a strength, you know. Or is it a strength in personality? We also need leaders on the pitch. So some players can also be very strong on personality. And then in the end, it's always, you need to look, is a talent adaptable and learnable? This is a very important skill too, because sometimes it's more interesting to work with a player who learns very fast than to get with one who is good but is stuck in the development. So we also need to follow, you know, are they developing the right way? And this is also for me a talent criteria. Yeah.
The current Copa Queens squad has been together for quite some time, Nora. Are we going to expect some wholesome changes? There've been, you know, sentiments that have come in the recent past that, you know, certain areas, you know, players, you know, have reached their peak and probably not going a step further. You know, they've reached the ceiling, so to speak. Your analysis of the Copa Queens squad, are we going to see some wholesome changes? And if so, if not, which areas do you think really need urgent attention before we go to WAFCON?
Well, basically, again, I believe every human can always develop, you know, so there's never, a player is never to end, you know, so, but basically, I want to give everybody a blank sheet, you know, everybody can present, everybody needs to compete, so it's maybe good. I come without prejudice, we go on the pitch, we do screenings, you know, sometimes it depends who is playing on your position, you know. So there are positions which are maybe a bit more competitive because there are a lot of good players on this position. We need to think maybe we switch somebody on another position. But basically I'm very open to let me convince about the strengths, about the talents. So players just need to take their chance.
Prior to this interview, Nora, I was reading through one of the interviews you gave to one of the journalists out there, it should have been in Europe, where you're talking about almost 100 days, you spend almost 100 days in a year with the Copa Queens. How soon do you get to work? And maybe a breakdown of these 100 days, so to speak, 100 days. When are you starting to get to work, so to speak?
Well, basically football is 365 days, 24/7, that's it is, you know. But when we travel with the team, so you have usually 6 FIFA windows which you use, which all the clubs need to release their players. So that's already 60 days. And when you go to a tournament with preparation, you end up on nearly 100 days of the year where you spend together as national team. It's a lot of days, and usually the players, they know each other since very early age, you know, so it's a bit like a family. Also when you come back, that's also, for me, it's very important that players, they have a well-being in national team, that they think, yes, next week I can go back, you know, to my family, to national team. That the heart part needs to be, for me, feelable of a player who appears. And then in between at the camps, it's a lot of scouting, watching games, preparing with the staff, exchange with clubs. I mean, now with Grace Chanda and Barbara Banda, for example, we need to have in good relation with Orlando. You know, both want the players to be on the top in national team in the club, so we need to always put our decisions for the players, you know, that they stay healthy, that they can perform on both sides. So it needs a lot of collaboration, interaction. Youth teams we spoke about, our under 17, they have qualifiers. So we end up on 365 days, I promise you.
How far have you gone in terms of consulting about you know, getting this you know, Copa Queens job? I bring in this question because you had a very short stint in Israel, like we keep emphasizing, and the current coach for the men's national team, Avram, is also from Israel. And at one point or another, he's also had an opportunity to interact with the Copa Queens squad. Have you had a chat with him? Has he told you anything?
Avram I met in February because we played with Ghana the Olympic qualifiers here, and we have been in the same hotel and a bit on exchange. He was very interested in our analysis work from my analyst, but I told him, you don't get it away from me. No, we had a good exchange, and often, you know, he has a big experience in the game, and for me it's also to learn from anybody I can. So it was for me also interesting to read a bit out on his experience, and also, of course, how he made the journey here with the Chipolopolo.
I'm happy you came to Ndola when you were with Ghana, and you saw the huge turnout of the fans that came through. Zambian fans, like I said, always want to win, and with the success stories that have been posted by the Copa Queens, there is a lot of expectation from you, Nora, I must state from the onset. How do you react to criticism And also, how do you hope to strengthen that connection with the fans?
Yeah, basically, I believe that football belongs to the people, you know. So it's right that they have emotions on football. It's right that they criticize. This is part of my job, that I can deal with this, you know. Of course, we do a very differentiation in the critique, you know, because as coach you have a lot of insights which you sometimes you cannot release, and you watch maybe much more precise on performance indicators and so on. But I'd like always to share also, you know, those analysts also with the crowd. They need to understand why we act or why we want to play like this. And basically it's always also to entertain them. Football is in the end, you know, for each Zambian after work, they want to have pleasure, they want to enjoy football, and it's on us also to transport, you know, this kind of entertainment and pleasure. So I'm fully open for critic, also for positives, and in the end I know we're going to be judged on the good results, you know. That's part of the game.
The immediate assignment once more is the WAFCON. For this first assignment, how many players are you hoping to call for camp? And is it going to be a weekly camp building up to the event itself, or you're looking at possibly having a camp outside Zambia?
No, in the first step in February, we want to make a tournament here. So we are in negotiation to maybe put a six-nation tournament on Zambian ground, because for me it's very important that we go out to the crowd. I want to have a full stadium, you know. It's important to start here. Afterwards, next step in April, probably we're going to go on a tournament. There are 2 tournaments in discussion. We fly out. It's in May, another period, and then it's preparation for the WAFCON, and July it's WAFCON in Morocco. So this is the first part of the year which we are scheduling.
How would you describe Africa, you know, as a continent in terms of women football? Are we making big strides, and how does the future look like for African football? And then you can narrow it down to Zambian women football.
Yeah, basically, like I said previously, I see a lot of potential. I see players which are highly skillful, which have physical attributes, you know, but which also have this kind of resilience. You know, they need to overgo a lot of hurdles sometimes to develop their career, which makes them very resilient. And I think now we see that the top players are breaking through in the NWSL. Barbara was nominated for the Ballon d'Or, you know. So in my opinion, yeah, it's a huge potential here, but it's also we need to work in the surrounding and in the structures, you know. We need the support from the ministry, of course. So it's all the players or the FA ministry. We all need to work on a common goal to settle a good environment and a high level performance environment. This is crucial, because when we don't deliver the structure to the players, it's also very difficult for them then on a certain point to reach really the high performance area in the game. Yeah.
I saw the pictures. You looked very happy when you're meeting the minister. Must have been some good conversation you had.
We had a nice chat. I felt very welcome. A lot of respect.
So yes, welcome back to the studio once again. We hope you enjoyed the video. She's very, very good coach. Me personally, I like everything about her, because when she was in Ghana, she was winning game here and there, and you know, sometimes you can't be in one place all the time. So now she's moved to Zambia, and we are wishing her all the best. Zambia have a very good team, very good players. The women, when you are talking about even under 20, under 17, the national team, very, very good. And she's happy to be there. She's happy. And that is the most important thing, okay? That is the most important thing. And I believe that she's going to be improving a lot in Zambian women team, because she's very, very good coach, honestly speaking. So yeah, we wish her all the best of his new job with the Zambia national team. We are here for African football, so the best we can do right here is to wish her best of luck and the best of Zambian women team to do well. AFCON is coming very, very soon. We are wishing them very, very good best of luck. Yeah, so that is it. Thank you so much for always staying here with us. If you are watching this video and you haven't subscribed to the platform yet, please do subscribe to the platform. This platform we talk about African football, whether national team, clubs, African players that play all over the world, particular Europe, the top 5 league, African player transfer, latest news. Will give you everything right here on this platform. So yeah, enjoy your day for now. One love.